Hey everybody, on this episode of Box Office Breakdown, Cars 3 puts the pedal to the metal to take the top of the box office. Plus, Neil and I saw some movies. What about Kari Lane? Oh, well, you'll find out next.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Box Office Breakdown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Box Office Breakdown. This is the show, of course, where we look back at the box office that was, and then we like to...
I don't know, I got run over by that bus right there. I got thrown under, so...
Prognosticate.
There we go.
Thank you. Yes, about the box office.
I need a voice
that
box
ahead.
to say it for me.
I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where you'll find all about the films that I watch. At Happy Go Jackie.
You'll find out about all the films that I watch that may or may not necessarily be related to this show online at Kari D. Lane. That's K-A-R-I-D. I'm like, I can't talk. K-A-R-I-D-L-A-N-E. I'm just so Star Trek because right before this, we had the actress who played Bookwas on American Gods After Show. So go watch that when you're done with here. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you can see us in the studio being cool.
Look at that.
Because she's cool.
And, of course, the gentleman who makes us look and sound so great, the one, the only, Neil Plumley.
Hey, guys, I do what I can with what I got. My name's Neil Plumley. You can follow me at TheNeilPlumley.
I feel like that's that an insult to us? He does what he can with what he's got, like we're not giving him that much?
I wanted to speak real quick, too. We are live with this, so if you are watching live, feel free to comment. And if you're watching it later, comment down below. I was going to say comment down below, but our screen's over there where we see your words. We started later because my show, American Gods, went late, which made Veep go late, and thus we are here.
That is correct.
So in case you're all thinking, like, wait, did we miss anything? No, you're fine.
You're just coming in.
We sometimes have to shuffle shows to accommodate special guests, and it's definitely worth it. So we are here now to talk about movies.
That's right. And Neil's been kind enough to give us a little extra time on the tail end, as he was saying. So we're going to be here till 4 a.m. talking about movies.
Ha.
Right, Neil?
If you want to make that commitment, Frank, I'm here. But just know, we can't, once the doors are shut and the show started, you can't get out.
Uh-oh. All right. It's 4 a.m., guys. 4 a.m. or bust. Get ready, Kari.
Boy.
Dig deep. I put on my adult diaper, so I'm prepared. A little callback to Rough Night, which I'll get to in just a little bit. Okay. But as always, folks, you can like us. You can like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you know what? Don't just go there and just subscribe. Also, I was hoping to have a visual aid with this. Give a thumbs up right there while you're watching that page. And, of course, the chat is up and running, too, as well, so feel free to chime in.
Yes, we are early, technically, guys. That's the other thing, too. I realized we are starting early because since I was thinking we were late.
That's true.
And
That's true.
no, guys, we are early because of the guests for American Gods that shuffled this earlier. And they were like, yeah, let's do it an hour earlier or so. And then, so anyway.
So we're just basically a mess today, guys. Let's just be upfront. We're a mess, but we're gonna get our act together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than this bumpy start time, it's gonna be that usual high level of performance and quality that you've come to expect from Box Office Breakdown.
Yes.
Sure. All right. Movies.
Let's zoom on over.
Boom! Right there, Kari Lane with the excellent segue of the evening. Yes, we'll look back at the our weekend's top 5. And it all starts off with Cars 3. Look at that. Zoom into the top of the box office there. Not unexpectedly.
Part of me, I was like, nope, kids movie, big franchise. It's been a little while. Trailer looked so exciting that I was like, what is this new trailer for this movie?
Yeah. Came in at $53.5 million. I saw the film, and I enjoyed it. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. The Cars 2, Cars 2 drives me bonkers.
Can we pretend 2 didn't happen?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
You can skip over 2, and you're not going to miss a beat. In fact, I would prefer, you could just remove 2 from that universe, and 1 and 3 make great companion pieces to each other. Still, I have my issues with as we talked last week about the universe where these cars exist, where you've got buildings and stuff, like why do cars need buildings? Yeah. But regardless, though, it is a great story about mentorship, legacy, female empowerment as well. It's very
Always a win.
Yeah, it was great. So I got a little teary-eyed several times during in there. And I mean, certainly one thing is Paul Newman, who was Hudson, Hudson Hornet in the first film. Of course, he passed away. But they were able to take some pieces there from his dialect to have it kind of repeat back there in the third one, which is nice. And
It's like a weird way of immortality.
yeah, and what I thought was really cool is what's easy to do in an animated film, and I never really thought about it, is that you can do flashbacks to an earlier thing, and it's easy with animation because you're just bringing back the animated figures. You don't have to worry about a live action character that may be dead or maybe younger.
Yeah.
Back when in that flashback and trying to recreate that.
Yeah.
But you can do that in animation. It was just
Yes.
really cool for them to put in some nods to the previous film, and it was really cool. I like the way they did it. It was a very enjoyable film.
I might actually probably try to go see it then.
Yeah, you won't. I don't think you'd be disappointed.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did like the first one a lot. I never got to the second one. I was like,
Yeah, this first one, this third one, kind of really hits a lot of the same
Got it.
kind of emotional tones and beats that the first one did as well. So,
Very cool.
I was really stoked. Really liked it. Really happy about that. But coming in at number 2, we've got Wonder Woman, still kicking butt there at the
I was gonna
box
say
office.
still holding on strong.
Still holding on strong. That's right. $40.7 million, just a 30% drop.
Not bad.
Yeah, doing fantastic there. In fact, I just took a little peek in to watch just the No Man's Land sequence while I was in between films at the theater, and man, that theater was packed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
Good.
fans still want to be seeing this film. 3, which was I think took everybody by surprise at the box office, was Lionsgate's All Eyes on Me, the Tupac Shakur film.
Very cool. Good for them.
Yeah.
I saw someone I follow on Instagram went to the premiere, so I was like, oh yeah, that movie.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they did a really good focused target marketing on it, and people were expecting maybe 15 million, and it really blew away expectations for that.
Good job on them.
Yeah. Number 4 was The Mummy. Third Universal, $13.9 million, and
It
this
dusted itself off.
This is a film that our beloved Neil Plumley went and saw.
Woo!
If you follow us on Twitter, he first on Snapchat, where he had a good omen about that as he went to the theater and he found some refuse connected to The Mummy. But he tweeted out that he went to go see it. Neil, your thoughts, sir?
Oh God.
Oh.
Okay. So, well, 0 of the characters, 0 of their motivations made any sense, except for Aminette, the villain.
Okay.
Okay.
She made perfect sense. She had a threat that was raised against her in her ancient Egyptian times, and she took action against it, and she was cursed because they found her. And then she's just trying to fulfill what she was trying to do earlier. Makes perfect sense. It's super easy. Everyone else, I can't even, at some points they're like, no, we can't do this. And then other times no, well, I guess we have to do this, with zero footholds on what they had said earlier. It just, it's so hard to dissect a movie like that just because it was just stupid.
Now, would you? Because I felt it wasn't. The movie didn't make me hate it while I was watching it, but I didn't think it by any means was a good movie. But I didn't feel it was as bad as the critics made it out to be. But still, I still was like, it's still terrible. But do you think it was as bad as critics said, or do you just nah, it's not quite as bad, but it's still a bad movie?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because I went into the movie with all those reviews sort of in my head. So I guess I thought it was a little bit better than what they had described it as, only because my expectations were so low. But honestly, Tom Cruise should not have been in that movie.
Someone in the chat totally agrees with you. Alban says Tom Cruise was so out of place in The Mummy, and it was a Tom Cruise film, not a Mummy movie. And Binge It 45 goes, I like the first 30 minutes of Mummy.
Yeah, the first 30 were pretty good, but you don't. I mean, yeah, sure, but you don't have any time to mess anything up at that point. But yeah, there's some things, I don't want to give a lot away, but there's some things that happened that were just like they literally revealed it to you with a character being like, hey, I'm super glad you did this, but what are we doing here? And I'm just like, okay, so they're just literally just going to expo that through a character just dialoguing it.
One quick tangent there. Albin says, how about that rough night? No worries, Alvin. My thoughts on that film will be coming up shortly. yes. But to get back to the Mummy, though, it's like, so Neil, you felt like this is the first foray into the dark universe, this whole new kind of world that they want to do for Universal. What do you think about this as an opening shot for that universe?
Well, it's not unattainable. I think they still have a shot at it, for sure, but especially based on how they left this movie. I still think that there's a lot of potential here. Now, Marvel started their universe very, very strong with Iron Man. And that was he was sort of like the flagship, tentpole property to bring through all the other ones and to create this giant through line. DC did not do a very good job starting things off with Man of Steel. Sort of critically panned, and fans didn't like it that much, and then Batman vs Superman was even worse. But now they're sort of coming back with Wonder Woman. So I think there's still hope for DC because of what we've seen from Wonder Woman just 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think that if they play their cards right, this dark universe could turn out well. It's not exactly... basically what I'm trying to say, it's not exactly like a nail in the coffin for them.
Okay.
With this movie. They can still come back. If DC can come back and make Wonder Woman, I'm positive that Universal can make the dark universe work. I think they really need to learn from the mistakes they made in this one.
Well, I mean, it certainly seems like they've set up Russell Crowe and his Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde character to kind of be the connector between all these different films that they plan on doing. He can kind of be, given the conceit that he kind of runs a paranormal agency, he can touch all these different properties and just kind of pop up as needed. But I felt like, Neil, how did you feel about him as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
I thought, honestly, it could have been worse. But I will say I really dug the subtle accent change between the two characters. So Dr. Jekyll was more, he seemed more, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but he seemed more straight like Londoner, and Mr. Hyde felt like more of like a northern English accent, like dropping a lot of his consonants and everything when he was talking. And I thought that was really interesting for him to make that sort of a choice. But
I also felt like the look of him, it was basically just Russell Crowe, but with just grayer skin.
Yeah, but I mean, Frank, what would you want besides that? Like, you want him to like buff up? You want him to like gain muscle mass suddenly from this change, or
it's like a werewolf thing, you know?
Yeah,
like they gain size.
We're living in a world where a mummy has come back after thousands of years being held in a tomb. I think we could buy into somebody gaining muscle mass as they turn into...
Well, I'm not saying that isn't plausible in the universe. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to see that effect.
You don't?
Don't need to.
Yeah, I don't need to. I thought, yeah, it's a little... They could have done a little bit better, but I wouldn't want them to go bigger with it, I don't think.
I'm liking what Emmanuel Garcia is saying in the chat. Studios should try to make good individual movies and not focus too much on making shared universe. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that, like, start making something really good and then expand.
Yes. I felt like that's, I mean, even though Marvel did have their long-term plan,
yeah,
they still
they
still kind of treated it as solo stuff that eventually tied in, and I thought was all the better for it.
Yeah.
I think, like, as Neil was mentioning, DC went too fast, too soon, and it feels like Universal's doing the same thing. The last thing I want to ask you about this film, Neil, is getting back to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because basically the way he kind of staves off these transformations is that he needs to just take injections to kind of stave off the transformation.
Sure.
But he has to take so many, and we see so little of them in the film, but he's taking so many of these. Like, it seems like almost like these injections are good for like 1 hour at most.
Oh.
I was getting really tired of how often he needed to inject himself. Did you feel that same way, Neil?
Yeah, I felt like, well, I guess it was sort of sped up by the, like, how much time they could include him in the movie. I felt like it would have benefited from seeing him do that, like, just sort of, like, before you even, like, really see his face. Maybe, like, in the first time you see him when it's all dark and you don't really know. They're trying to keep a secret, like, who he is. But everyone knows it's Russell Crowe. It would have been cool if he, like, stepped to the side a little bit, injected himself, and then introduced himself as Russell Crowe. And then later in the scene where, in the second scene where you see it, it would have played a lot better because then there would have been a decent time gap between the two. But yeah, I agree. I felt like it's from the duration of time between those two scenes where he was injecting himself, it felt like it maybe lasted 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, in defense of the not changing, Lee Jen in the chat says, in the book, Hyde wasn't a monster, just his personality was drastically different from Jekyll.
Yeah, all right.
So not a physical change, but more like your persona.
True. I mean, I guess we're just so been so
We're used
influenced
to seeing
by
it.
yeah.
Well, I like how many people remember Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde.
No, I do not.
You didn't see that movie?
No.
Oh, no, that was so... Anybody? Neil? No? Chat room? Gonna be
No,
like,
haven't seen
what?
it.
I remember some movie in the 90s, and I'm like, okay, now I'm like, great, it does exist, right? But yeah, it was like a guy, and he turned into a woman, but it created, like, major problems, because, like, that was obviously a very physical change difference, but, like, her personality was completely different from his, too.
Nice.
So, I thought that was a cool movie. I want to say it was, like, 90s.
Oh, all right.
And crickets. Everyone's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because the one thing about just this thing, Neil, with that serum that he needs to use, like if you only knew that this was going to last an hour, maybe 3 hours, if we're speculating at most, I would always know exactly when that was happening and when I needed to inject myself. It always seems in this film that he's always caught by surprise, like, oh wait, oh no, it's happening. I need to get this serum. Like you should know by now how quickly you need the serum, and I would always have that on lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. It almost felt like he was like dancing on the razor's edge by the end there.
Yeah.
Like he would get really close to it, almost to like taunt himself and be like, I'm starting to change. Okay, now it's time to go. And then inject himself, and then he's like, I'm all better. We're good now.
All right, I found it. It is from 1995. It only has a 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb. And it stars, top billed cast is Sean Young as Helen Hyde.
Oh.
And Tim, is it pronounced Daly?
Oh yeah, from Wings.
Is Dr. Richard Jacks. So they don't do Jackal, but
Oh.
and also Harvey Fierstein. I'm like
Firestein?
Firestein. Yeah, I'm like I can't pronounce
Oh,
stuff. He's
wow.
in it too. Jeremy Piven's in it.
Oh, nice.
There's a lot of people in this movie. And I just remember, like, I mean, it's one of those, it might be horrible now, but as a kid, I'm like, this is a cool movie.
It was a TV film or a studio
No, it's a
film?
live studio
Really?
film, yeah.
All right, man.
Oh, Kari, Lee Jen remembers the movie.
Yay, thank you. I'm glad somebody else does. But that was a cool interpretation of it where it wasn't like a physical monster, but like they just changed like the sex of the character, which that in itself is like, whoa, that's a big change that you could deal with.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
As Alvin in the chat agrees with me, thank you, Alvin. He was always surprised when he needed to inject. That's true, and it was just got ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Neil, all in all, would you tell our beloved viewers to go see this film?
Absolutely not, Frank.
Don't.
Just don't. Just get it from a library, maybe later. There's better things in theaters right now.
Yeah.
I will say that it was better than... I think I might like it a little bit better than the other movie I saw this weekend.
All right, which we'll get to in just a moment. Rounding out our top five, 47 Meters Down, starring Mandy Moore, made $11.5 million. Slow clapping from Kari Lane on that one.
Good job, Kari. You called it.
We did not do so well on our predictions. of
No,
this.
what we yeah, that was the one we predicted, right?
We thought that one was going to
Boy,
be
I was in the middle.
There you go. Yeah.
So you bet it way higher, right?
Oh no! Well, our bet was on Rough
Rough Night. Okay,
Yes.
what did we say?
But just in terms of our top
we didn't
five.
say it in top five, right?
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Got it.
Yes.
Kari had 47 Meters Down in her top 5.
Oh, I did. Oh,
It was number 5.
I did. Yes, I forget.
Yeah, you argued that it was a summer movie and sharks do well.
I like that. I forgot. Now praise me. I forgot. Praise me.
No, we're not going to praise you, Kari. You have to remember what you say. I'm just pointing out facts.
And Patrick in the chat, who goes to libraries these days? This person right here. Free movies, free books on tape. It's awesome. Best way to get DVDs. Like, that's the way to go.
It's your tax dollars at work.
I mean, yes, I have Netflix, access to Hulu and Amazon, but still, there are random movies that, like, go to my library and get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
So, of course, the subject of this weekend's box office bet was the Scarlett Johansson comedy Rough Night. Early. Yeah. I searched my phone on Saturday morning just to check out what the latest box office was, and it was not looking good.
I did the same thing. It was like 3 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was rough for Rough Night. So I was like, I shot for the moon. I went $19 million on my box office bet. Disappointed in all you box office breakdown viewers. You did not join me to at least get it to $16 million. It barely got a little over $8 million. Not so good. So I said, all right, while I'm seeing Cars 3, I will take the bullet, and Rough Night starts right after that it's over. So I will go and jump in and check that out. And it's not a great movie. It's not. It's a very cliche movie. I feel like I've hit those beats, except you just swap the genders.
Right.
And so, I mean, there are little, there's a woman it was a very dead theater that I went to go see it in, but there was a woman that was sharing kind of the same row with me, but she was about I was sitting at the end, she was about halfway in. Man, this was like the funniest movie she had ever seen, because she cackled a lot.
I've had that where sometimes it helps to see it with an audience when you go, when am I supposed to be laughing? Because there's certain movies that I know are comedies, and I'll find my friends who've seen it and laugh, and I'm like, you're watching it with me, so I know when I'm supposed to be. So that's funny that you're like, that's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But it's not.
There were just moments in there where the characters do the dumbest thing just for the sake of like trying to get to a funny beat or a moment. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this frustrates the heck out of me. It frustrates me when it's men filmed kind of do like, whether it's whatever, the stupid Zach Galifianakis, The Hangover. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
I like Hangover as a movie. I don't think it's a good comedy. It was a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But as a comedy, I didn't really laugh much. And I saw it with a packed theater. Because I was like, okay, maybe I'm like, I should go see this like with a crowd. And no.
Yeah. I will say, if you ever want to see Ty Burrell in a Speedo, this is the movie for you.
Okay.
He does wear a Speedo. He does look good in it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he looks great. He rocked that Speedo, man.
Oh, man.
He rocked it.
All right, well, I'm just going to go have to just...
Neil, where'd you go? Neil?
I'll be back. Hold on.
Neil's running out to a quick late night show. Since we're here till 4 a.m., he's got plenty of time to go see it and come back and tell us how it was. Yeah, it's just... And basically, it's a film where everybody gets in... Like, they get in way over their head in a situation, and by the end of it, there is, like, zero consequences. And you're like...
And should they have just told the truth from the beginning? Then they wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah. So, not that great of a film. So, but there is a gentleman in the film that does wear a diaper and drives a long distance. So, if you're a fan of a gentleman wandering around in a diaper,
make a pit stop.
You can't. You can't. If you're trying to get down to Florida, you need to go, and you can't stop.
Whatever.
All right. So, my thoughts about Rough Night is that is another one you can skip. Wait till it comes to you at home. That's the best way to go watch it. Do not pay good money to go and see that. Yeah, go see Wonder Woman again. That's
I'm
a much more enjoyable
going to
film.
look up another one because we didn't know the name last week and I felt bad. Oh, wait, we do need to make an apology correction. We were talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon last week, but we said Swamp Thing on our show. I don't know if it was me or you, I forget, but people in the chat.
That was me, I think I said it.
Okay. One of those doesn't matter. We were all thinking Creature from the Black Lagoon, but that's not what came out. And people in the chat, which I love that all of you are on it, everybody's like leaving comments going, excuse me, that's the wrong thing. Which absolutely, those are totally different things. But it's one of those like you think the right thing and just not the right word. So in vain of that, I'm going to look up the name of a movie so that I don't say it wrong.
All right. So Neil, while Kari does that, could you just please take a moment there to apologize to the viewers?
Oh my God, you guys. I'm so sorry. But I did catch I think what was it, the hand from the Creature from the Black Lagoon in
the Mummy. There you go.
And also a vampire skull.
Yes.
Okay. So the movie where we were talking about this last week, and in theory that sounds really stupid, but I'm like, no, really, if you just look at what they are, it's not really the wrong way to say it. There was, when Rough Night came out, there's lots of trailers. I'd seen tons of trailers. Then I was like, the black one. Because there's another one that's like the same concept, 4 women, bachelorette kind of thing. And I could not remember the name because I had only seen one trailer, but Rough Night I had seen a few, so that's my defense of not knowing the name. So it's called Girls Trip. Now that one I think actually looks funny. Watching that trailer.
Yeah, there's definitely an inciting incident in Rough Night that I think does not exist in Girls Trip, so I think it'll make it all the better for it.
Okay.
This incident in Girls in Rough Night just makes it so tough to just really... just make it to get by that and just kind of enjoy it as a comedy.
Yeah. I just know somebody kind of was like, you don't remember the name. And I'm like, I know, I totally forgot. So, Girls Night, that one, like, have you seen the trailer for it?
I have.
Because, you go, okay, basic idea, but that one actually looks amusing. Like, there's moments in it that I'm like, okay, some of it looks stupid, but some of it I'm like, all right, I could get behind that.
Oh, all right.
So maybe when that comes out, I'll be like, here's my thoughts.
Maybe. We get a maybe for that.
Yes.
Now, one other film that did not make it in the top 5 again, kind of been sinking a little lower in our box office totals, though, was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And, while Neil was seeing The Mummy, he also said, you know what? Maybe I should see another film. Neil, what did you think?
Oh, wow, man. You had a rough weekend.
I did. I had a rough weekend. Me and my friend decided to go see it. We tried for the 8 p.m. It wasn't sold out, but the seats were like like you pick your seat, I guess, assigned seating, and the seats were far apart from each other. So we're like, nah, we'll went to the next show.
Was it in a screening room of like 6 people? Because like, how could you?
No, it was okay. I go to the. I guess I won't just yell out what theater I go to, but.
Oh, because you don't really stalking you down. I understand.
Right, I have fans, Frank. Okay, relax.
My bad.
They follow me. Stalker alert. But I have the theater I was in probably, honest to God, had about 40 seats in it. It's a very small screen.
Yeah.
And they use it for movies like this that can't sell out a whole theater, but do sell tickets.
Does this theater have reclining seats?
Yes, it does.
Yep. Well, it's downstairs, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool, guys. Talk your secret code now.
Frank, we'll tell you later.
Yeah, we'll tell you later, man.
We'll go see a movie. Hey,
it's good theater.
But so we decided not to go to that one, and we ended up going to the 11 o'clock, which was such a bad idea. Got out at like 1:30. There's like an hour of goddamn trailers before that movie starts, and so we're just sitting. And I love trailers, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, when are we gonna get out of here? The movie itself, it has its appeal, but there's so many things that, I mean, okay, fine, it's a Pirates movie, but there's things that don't make physical sense. Like, there's that bank heist in the beginning where they're just literally just trailing a building behind a carriage of horses. And it doesn't make any sense. And while it's funny, I was just like, okay, well, I can't suspend that much disbelief. However, I felt like Javier Bardem was fantastic. One of the most fantastic villains in a Pirates movie, I would say. The animation on him was really cool. The animation on some of his cronies, some of his shipmates, was overdone a little bit. I think you see it in the trailer. Like some of their, they're all sort of they're not really intact, but they're like still together as like a. I don't know how to describe it. They're like missing parts of their body, but they're still able to like move those parts as if they're still connected. So like they're missing like from their shoulder to their elbow, but then like their forearm still moves as if it's connected. And sometimes that's really weird because there's like part of a chest and part of a face, and then like a couple of arms flying around, and I don't know who is connected to what. And that was a little weird. Stardrew asked, so the pirates were worse than the Mummy then? I would say, to me, yes, for one reason. I think because the Mummy had a scene where there was like 1,000 camel spiders. And I said to myself, now that's something I haven't seen in a movie before. And so I decided for that reason only, I prefer the Mummy.
Oh, okay.
But did you feel, because I felt with the Pirates film, and I guess it's just symptomatic of Captain Jack Sparrow. It's like, that is a character that does not change really from film to film. He has really no, I mean, he is pretty much stays, how he is right now in this film is how he's always been. And it just kind of gets frustrating.
Oh, I disagree. I think he has changed for the worse in this movie. He is way too not Jack Sparrow in this movie. In Jack Sparrow from the first one, and even through, I think through the whole three. Like, if you remember in the first one, the minute he knew Will Turner's name, he formed that whole plan in his head. They had the whole thing locked down. He's like, I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen, and I can know that this person's going to do this, and it's going to end with me having that coin and fighting Barbossa and then giving it back and killing him and the whole thing. Like, he sort of planned that whole thing out, and Will, like, called him on it, too, before that final fight scene starts in the first one. He's like, you had this whole planned out from the moment you knew my name. He's like, well, yeah. None of that happens in this movie. He is just like a lethargic, just hole in the wall who's literally just bringing everybody down around him, and it's sort of depressing to watch.
So, Neil, Courtney in the chat asks, do you think this should be the last Pirates movie?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the third one should have been the last one, but I don't think it's going to be. I think they're going to keep going. I mean, it makes really good international money.
Right.
They had a tease at the end.
Yeah.
To keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not the last one, I think they should just punch something else into it, or at least just make Jack like sort of how he was, because that sort of brought the whole first film together. And yeah, I felt like it had problems, but it's not without redemption, sort of like the Dark Universe franchise.
Okay.
I mean, but Jeffrey Rush, I mean, this is his story for this, certainly in this film, and he sells it by the end.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I felt like he was a little out of character working with who he was working with in the movie.
Yeah.
But a little bit too much groveling at one point for me, coming from Barbosa. But yeah, I feel like you're right, Frank. I feel like it's definitely more geared towards him. But you don't really know that going in. So
no.
If that's the conclusion you're drawing from it, then you have to admit that like the pacing and the structure of the story's off, because it doesn't really clue you into that until later on.
No, that's very true. And I don't know if because I don't know if people are going to get Disney's going to get people coming to see this film like, hey, it's Barbossa's story, as opposed to like, no, you get your boy Captain Jack Sparrow back. He's cool. Come and see with him. So yeah. So look at that, Neil. Look at you. Now, before we continue on with other stuff, though, let's just touch base with Kari Lane about all the films that she's seen on her box office bet. All right, there we go.
Those crickets from earlier? I need to make a list. There you go. If you guys want to be very bored and such, let me know.
They'll start calling you out right here in the chat. They'll let you know exactly what you've missed.
Tweet at me. Give me a list of what they are.
Now, feel free to throw them in the chat too, folks. I'm
not gonna remember. I got a notebook and you got a paper, so I mean, I got we could do that.
So basically, folks, in international news, we've got there are a lot of moving parts here this weekend, including a lot of debuts of two animated threequels, Cars 3 and Despicable Me 3 internationally, and The Return of the Mummy, leading to its sophomore offshore frame and nearing $300 million globally. So even though it's not doing great domestically, internationally, it's still doing big numbers. Wonder Woman, meanwhile, is close to lassoing $300 million overseas and is reached $571.8 million in worldwide grosses. So Cars 3 opened up in 21.3 in 23 markets as part of a staggered release, with domestic also starting off, basically got to a worldwide total of $74.8 million. So the overseas debut in the same markets and at today's exchange rates puts Cars 3 9% ahead of Cars 2 and 29% ahead of Cars, yet 9% behind Monsters University. So I'd be curious to see, because I feel like Toy Story, I thought even after 3 that might be it, but they're going to do a fourth one.
What?
Yeah, they're doing a Toy Story 4.
Really?
I'll be curious to see if this is kind of the end of the Cars story, because it definitely ends on a good note where you could just see, yep, this is good. But it does. I mean, merchandising alone for this. I mean, the last film brought in $10 billion in merchandising alone.
Kids love toy cars anyways, so now it's like they're personified. They're people, sort of.
Yeah. So I think just for that alone, I gotta imagine there's at least one more Cars film. You know, the one thing I want to know in the Cars universe though is how they have children, because there are like child cars in this film. How does that even happen?
The mechanic stork.
When a male car and a female car like each other.
There's a tailpipe.
Yeah. I was thinking that too as well. All right. Yes. So Illumination's Despicable Me 3 took advantage of the local holidays to debut in 5 markets, making $10 million at 686 dates, notably in Australia. It came in at number 1, 17% bigger than Despicable Me 2 and 2% under Minions. I'm curious about that. I've seen the second and a little bit of the first. I'm curious about seeing the third
Despicable
one.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the first and the second. I didn't see the Minions. Minions had their own thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see Minions, but I saw the first and the second. I liked them.
And we also have Transformers: The Last Night begins its offshore and domestic rollout on Tuesday this week. Hitting China on Friday, it's expected to suck a lot of air out of the international box office. Especially, yeah, internationally, these films do gangbusters.
Yeah, I'm interested, but I'm like the last one. I was like, meh, you know.
It's these. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Michael Bay is not overseeing the Transformers films. Just would like to see some new blood in there.
What would be your wish list for Transformers directors?
Oof, man, it's it would be Ryan Johnson would be kind of interesting to see what he would do, but I mean, I don't know if he'd want to come over and do something like that. I think visually he'd be kind of interesting. How about you, Neil?
I don't know. Edgar Wright?
Do you see him actually doing a Transformers film, though?
Yeah, but it'd be fun.
It would be fun, but I can't. They would have to. I don't even know if they could bring up enough money for him to say, like, yeah, I'd rather put my own stuff, especially after what happened with Marvel. For him to get so involved in a series and then, who knows, deal with all the like internal politics of the Transformers franchise. Would he want to go back into something like that?
I'm shrugging for the people listening. I'm like,
Yeah, plus, come on, Neil, be honest. Would you rather see a Edgar Wright Transformers film or an original Edgar Wright film?
That's a good point, Frank. But if we only had original Edgar Wright films, we wouldn't have Scott Pilgrim.
No, that's true, too.
And, this sounds a little bit dark, but I do agree with Sarah in the chat. The last Transformers movie was the only movie where I ever wanted the female protagonist to die. I'm like, yeah, she was such an annoying and dumb character. Her boyfriend was mediocre as well, but they were just so frustrating and dumb, and I didn't care about them at all.
It was
like, I want them to like I was fine with Mark Wahlberg. He was fine. He's cool. I can get on board with him being the next guy, next Shia. Fine.
Yeah, but I get really tired of
his sidekicks suck.
Oh yeah, but I was also tired of that dynamic. It's like you're my baby girl. I don't want to, let you out into the world. Like that got really tiresome.
Oh yeah, but that's part of it too. Like, but if she had been more an interesting character, that might have worked better.
Maybe.
It got old real fast. But
he was on the Graham the Graham Norton show this past weekend saying that this will be his last Transformers film. So whether that means he lives or dies, who knows? But at least his involvement with the franchise will end with this film. So. And other milestones real quick there, since Neil helped contribute to this. Pirates of the Caribbean, that have been telling no tales, reached $500 million overseas, becoming the #3 offshore release of 2017, sitting behind The Mouse's Beauty and the Beast at #2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at #4. So look at that. Now speaking of Transformers films, as we just mentioned, there's only one film coming out and released this week, and that is going to be Transformers Age of Extinction. I believe that's the name of that beautiful film.
The Last Night.
Oh, no,
That's
Last Night. That's right. Yep. Age of Extinction was the previous one.
The last one, yep.
So, and this one, who knows? There's, you know what I'm tired of in the Transformers films is Optimus Prime getting like blowed up and then having to come back to life. I'm tired of that. Please, let's not this be a film where either Bumblebee or Optimus Prime have to get blowed up and then reassembled to be back even bigger and better than before. Ugh, tired of that one. Mm-hmm. But that is our only film coming out this week, so that'll be the only film that we'll be doing the box office bet on. Next week, we'll have a nice selection of films to choose from. But we'll be betting on that.
We did our top 5, too.
Yes.
Neil and I worked on our list.
I love it. So we thought real quick, since we don't really have many other films to bet on for the box office bet, we will do something real quick here, is that Nelbin, one of our faithful viewers, tweeted at me earlier this week saying, hey, what about doing something about giving your midway point of the year your top 5 films?
Are we already midway?
Yeah, almost.
Ish.
Yeah, we're just weeks. So yeah, so it's like, all right, so why not? So we thought this would be a cool thing to say. So far, the films we've seen this year, where do they kind of fall? What are our top 5 choices of films we've enjoyed?
Are we going 5 to 1?
Oh, sure. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
All right, Kari, you've worked on this list.
I wrote mine down.
All right.
Because I was like, I'm not going to remember. Okay, so 5, I know some of you are going to be like, well, but... Okay, and then these are also movies, like, yes, there's a lot of other good ones, but these are ones that I'm like, I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed the experience watching. So, technically, I put them together because they both on their own were... But the Underworld and Resident Evil end of the franchise films, because those were fun to... Because I like the franchises, so I'm going to put that as, like, there as one thing, because... By themselves, probably I liked Resident Evil more than I liked Underworld's ending, because there were things with Underworld I was just kind of annoyed with. And Resident Evil had some new stuff that was cool, but I'll put that together as 5. 4, I like representing for the independent cinema out there and film festivals. I liked Lipstick Under My Burqa, which, if you guys remember me talking about that back when I was doing the Indian Film Festival, they did, I think, get actual release now in India because they were banned at first because apparently strong female characters was not cool, and them talking about things that are real and real issues women deal with was not okay over there. So they finally were allowed. Alvin goes, really, Carrie? Those are bad movies. They should have ended a long time ago. This is true. They're not amazing, but in enjoyment of the franchise, and that's why I put them together. All right, and then number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Number 2, Wonder Woman. And now I feel bad saying it that way, but I was probably going to say John Wick 2, because that was just, I love the first one. But I feel almost my Wonder Woman, John Wick could be like... They can hover between 1 and 2.
Gotcha. All right.
It depends what mood you're in. If you want like Hitman, shoot 'em up stuff, or like awesome action. They're both really, really good action. So apparently I like action movies. It's part of my list too.
All right. We'll see where Carrie's mind is at for the beginning part of the year. How about you, Neil?
At my number 5, I have Fate of the Furious.
Really interesting. Okay.
I enjoyed it. Thought it was a great time.
That was, I almost considered, but I was annoyed by some stuff. Oh, and wait, sorry, quick question. Sorry to interrupt. Somebody, was Rogue One? Rogue One didn't come out January to now.
It came out in December.
Yeah, guys, we're doing January to now. Just so y'all know. All right, please continue.
So Fate of the Furious at number 5, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 2 at number 4. Number 3, getting clawed up by Logan. Number 2 is Pieced Together by Lego Batman. And number 1, my favorite movie of this year so far, is Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Wow, interesting.
A lot of superheroes and a lot of franchises in there, Frank. What do you got?
Look at you. For me, I guess I will go. It's tough with John Wick there in the mix. There, Carrie reminded me of that.
I like Serenity point out Power Rangers is on their list. I actually almost considered Power Rangers because I'm like, that was actually fun this year. I mean, no, it's not like, again, movies that maybe aren't like, that was amazing. But it was a very fun and entertaining movie. And I was having that discussion with Neil before the show. There are plenty of movies that are good, but you maybe wouldn't rewatch it or like, I need to see it again or something. Like you watched it the one time and that's good and it's satisfactory. But I want ones where I'm like, that was really fun and like I had a good, like you feel good after.
Oh.
I'll watch depressing ones, but I don't want to as much.
For me, I think I will go. I'm gonna go Logan number 5. Logan number 5. I'm gonna do Score, a film music documentary that is gonna start coming out in limited release this week and next. In New York and LA, and then kind of goes wide in the next couple months. But I talked about it a few weeks ago. It's a great documentary about the people that are responsible for doing all those great scores that you listen to in films, and it's a really cool documentary. 4 for that. I will go. I think I'm gonna go. Cars. Ooh. I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go John Wick 3, Cars 3, 2. I guess I'll go Wonder Woman 1 because I feel like I'm compelled to go at least watch certain sequences of that film. I'd love to stop Wonder Woman, like that ending just still kills me, but the beginning parts and all up to No Man's Land are great.
I do need to jump in because a couple people have two things. One, explain what Score is one more time because someone's like Score.
Score, it's a film music documentary, and it's they basically talk to all the people all these composers that do the scores for films, like Hans Zimmer. Bear McCready, a variety of other ones, and basically just kind of brings you into their life and the contributions they do to and what they add and how they can help salvage films.
Very cool, thank you. And then a couple people are like, "Wait, what about Get Out?" Get Out was I was thinking about that one as well. My only thing with it is it reminds me a lot of another movie, which nobody's comparing it to the other one, and I don't want to say because that spoils it. But there's another film that came out a long time ago that when watching Get Out, I'm like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, so there's a lot of things in it that are amazing. It's great that they made that film. But I'm like, did you see this other movie? It's the same kind of plot. Like I saw the ending coming because I had already seen this other film. So that was my only hang up on Get Out because it's when I saw it, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so new and so original. Which, that kills me. I don't mind awesome movie. Don't say it's new and original when there's like, here's the other one. Did you see the other one? No? Okay, that's fine. But I was asking Neil and he hadn't seen it. And I can't tell you what it is because then that would spoil Get Out if you haven't seen Get Out. But
No, that is a really good film.
But it was really good. I did really like it.
It was close to going to the top 5. I mean, for sure, at least 6. I could see that sticking around. So the way the summer's been going so far, I could see that sticking around and making it into a top 10 by the end of the year.
It'll be interesting to see what we would add to our list as we go on. Actually, I feel we should do this in like thirds. Because I feel like it'd be such a long gap of time.
Yeah, to see what drops off.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, we've got Spider-Man. We still got, The Last Jedi. Those are at least just 2 big ones that I can think of.
Okay, a lot of people are like, what is the movie? Tweet at me, and I'll figure out a way to privately tell you, because I don't want to spoil it for people.
Oh, all
So
right.
there. Gotta make you do the social media thing. I got my phone right now. I could probably be like, bloop, bloop. Because if I say it in the chat, too, if people haven't seen it, it'd be like, what? No.
Okay.
And Neil can't see it either.
No, man. And I agree we should do this again because in 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure Baby Driver is going to be on my top 5.
Oh, yes.
yes.
That looks so good.
Oh, that should be very
Oh,
intriguing.
everyone. Tim's like, we've all seen Get Out. Tell us which movie. I know. Okay, hint. It is. Oh, great. That gives it away, too. I'm like, the movie that I saw is connected to another movie in the 80s involving Haiti. Let's see how far of a film rabbit trail you guys follow for that.
Boy, have fun, everybody.
Oh, if you don't have
Enjoy.
Twitter? No. Okay. Main actress is... Oh, no.
That's it. You're not even tell like the main actress so people could just look up the film if they want?
Oh, hold on. Actually, there we go. I'll look it up because I'm blanking on her name and I
All
want to say it right, but continue.
Tell them the distribution company.
Tell them the opening box office for its for opening weekend for that film. That'd
What
be
was
good.
its first to second week drop off?
Stop it.
So while Carrie's looking
Kate
that
Hudson. Stars Kate Hudson.
up. Oh, I know the film.
Don't say it.
Okay.
But see, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen that movie, Get Out has a very similar plot line. So I knew already that I'm like,
Yeah.
but nobody compared it to that. And I'm like, really? Did nobody see this other? Because the other one is really good too.
That is a key point, Kari Lane. All right.
We do puns on this show, so I hope you all are listening.
Oh, great, I got it.
All right. So, Neil's on
And
board.
that
Are
was
you?
he. Okay, fine. Neil, plug your ears for a second. Fine. The other movie it's connected to is Serpent and the Rainbow. Which that's an excellent film, too, if you guys haven't seen that movie. And then there's this one with Kate Hudson and then Get Out. So it's one of those. It'd be a triple feature.
Oh, all right. There you
know,
go.
Just saying.
So as I mentioned, Transformers: The Last Night is our only entry, and what we like to do is we like to do a little box office rewind. Somebody that's been in an upcoming film, kind of look back at their career. It's our boy Mark Wahlberg. You know,
What?
when he's not doing Wahlburgers, you know, and not doing the Italian Job, you know, which still is being labeled as a possible sequel for that coming. Also, there's still no release date for the $6 Million Man, or I think the $6 billion Man. They're doing it this time, but I would love to see an updated take on that film. But they still have no director attached. So.
Legion, no, to your question. Said, was the mom involved? No. Not really. It was something else, which if you haven't seen that movie, it's a really good movie too. I like a lot of these movies on this list for Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah. Basically, coming out for number 5 for him is a film that has a sequel coming out soon. Daddy's Home from Paramount Pictures made $38.7 million. I have not seen that film. Did you?
I have not, though. Second one's trailers have dropped and they look funny. And my friend works on some of the promotional online commercials for it, and those look funny too.
And we've got Mel Gibson back here, which should be intriguing to see how he does in this film. Number 4, The Perfect Storm from Warner Brothers back in 2000, $41.3 million.
I don't think I saw that one.
Not a bad film, you know.
Okay.
Number 3, Ted from Universal back in 2012, $54.4 million.
See, there's a comedy I actually really enjoyed. However, the only problem with Ted is if you've never seen Flash Gordon, you'd be like, you know, but I'd say almost 75% of the humor is because they're all referencing it so many times and like just their love of it. And I talked to some other people, I'm like, but you haven't seen, like they hadn't seen Flash Gordon before they saw Ted.
But I feel like you don't have to have seen that.
Because you're like them then you're so excited and pumped when they talk about it and everything.
I feel like, if
Come
you've been,
on.
that only adds. But I don't feel like it's like
It doesn't detract, but it's
Yeah.
like you don't get that extra like cherry on top or that
Yeah.
extra like oomph of it. And I feel like you connect more with those characters when you know the film. That
True.
They reference constantly in that movie.
if only they got Timothy Dalton, that would have been great.
But that's a comedy. There, when I have to tell people what comedies I think are actually funny, I'm like, I like Ted. I thought that's funny, and the second one I actually thought was funny too.
It was all right. It was not as good as the first.
Not as good as the first, but it was funny.
Coming in number 2, which amazes me, is Planet of the Apes from 2001, $68.5 million. This movie here bugged the heck out of me. Fantastic makeup, though. Fantastic makeup in the film. But man, that story drove me bonkers.
That's the Tim Burton one, right?
Yes.
I actually liked it.
You cannot tell me that ending. That ending, you're like, what?
I don't remember the ending, but I remember I liked it. But that aside, I love the original Planet of the Apes series, such that the new series, I'm like, I can't get into it.
Really?
I know, right?
It's,
I love the classic one, even though.
But I'm a sucker for the classic makeup too. Just like
I know, that's why I like it.
It looks cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
fine.
makeup for that stuff is still fun to watch.
Side note on, I think people are connecting from Daddy, so I'm talking about Will Ferrell. I will say though, he's better for me in an ensemble. Like by himself, I'm like, but in an ensemble, great.
So what about like an Anchorman, where he's kind of like the lead in an ensemble?
I didn't like Anchorman at all.
Okay. Kicking and Screaming.
Didn't watch that.
That's
What
us.
about Elf?
Elf.
It's cute, but I don't love it.
Okay.
Old School, liked Old School. See, that's an ensemble.
That's a good one.
What was the other? Step Brothers. Like total no, hated that one.
No.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the whole thing in a while, but on cable recently it's been playing, and so I've only caught I only seem to tune into it right when they go to the Catalina Wine Festival or whatever.
Catalina Wine Mixer.
Yeah, wine mixer, and they start singing and stuff, and for some reason that just entertains me. So.
Heartless, not like an elf. No, I like that. It just didn't do it for me. And then somebody asked, Sarah asked, is it better to watch comedies with friends? No, because there's plenty of others. I laugh a lot at TV, just some movies. I'm like, I have a particular kind of humor, apparently. And yes, Patrick, I would say that could be true. Patrick goes, Carrie's hard to please. I can't. When I was talking to my friend, I'm like, my standards of comedy, no, I don't know. I can appreciate a movie. I just may not think it's funny.
Oh, all right, look at that. She's a tough critic. She's a tough critic.
Saying. I had a movie review show, but I wasn't a critic. I do write movie reviews sometimes.
And you share some of your thoughts here.
Tim, I do appreciate that as a joke. Tim turned it into a joke of that's what he said. I will take that as, see, that is funny. I will laugh at that.
Coming in number 1 for Mr. Mark Wahlberg. No surprise, Transformers: Age of Extinction, $100 million back there in 2014. And now it's back with a sequel, The Last Night Here.
Let's see.
There you go. Which happens to be the subject of our box office bet,
Oh my
folks.
gosh.
I feel like we've
That's a
gotten to that
movie.
point. We're actually, before we make that bet, we've got to do just our top 5 for next week. Do we see Transformers: The Last Night being number 1?
Yes.
Do you see any other difference in any of our lineup? Do you feel everything's just going to go down a notch?
I think All Eyes might drop another peg. It might drop 2, but I don't see a lot of significant change.
Really, you think The Mummy could actually go up ahead of it?
Maybe. Yeah.
Do we think
probably.
Cars can hold on to 1?
No. I think Transformers will.
So Transformers bump and put things down. Yeah, I think I could go Transformers being number 1, then Cars, then Wonder Woman, All Eyes on Me, and then 47 Meters. Sure.
Interesting.
Boom. Why not?
I feel like The Mummy will still hold on just a little bit. I think everything just goes down 1. Neil, what do you think?
Yeah, I think everything goes down 1, but Mummy staying above All Eyes.
Interesting.
Got it.
All right.
I think there's some direct marketing for All Eyes on Me,
Okay.
and I think maybe it's going to peter out a little bit more than The Mummy will.
Okay. Plus, people love that Tom Cruise, you know?
Oh, they love him. No, they love the man.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the box office bet. Of course, we have only one film here, but usually we have you folks in the chat vote on which film you want us to do. Since there's only one film being released this week, we'll be doing Transformers. The last night there, it's going to be releasing in 3,900 theaters from Paramount Pictures, starring your boy Mark Wahlberg. Should be exciting there. Of course, as the box office bet works, whoever gets closest gets to have bragging rights. They're the prognosticator among prognosticators. In fact, Neil was our head prognosticator for last week with Rough Night. The loser, though, will have to go see the film and maybe share a picture on social media that they actually went to the
I
screen.
know, you guys are all calling out on these accountability. If you guys don't know, follow us on Twitter. They were doing accountability photos, essentially, of like, look, I'm at the movie. All right, Ken Jack says 94 for Transformers. Serenity's going big with 120. Wow, the last one had 100, guys, though, so calm down.
Yeah.
And it was also terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, so people might be a little burned out. I'm going to go with...
Well, before we bet, do you feel like, in terms of Transformers, do you feel like the appetite... it's going to be number one, but do you feel like the appetite is still there, as I say, to like something Fast and Furious? People are still ravenous about these films, even 8 films in. At 5 films in, are people still ravenous about Transformers?
Not in the U.S., I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. China, it's going to do huge.
Star Drew... You guys got to pick one number. Star Drew goes 85, 88, 95. No. Courtney says 85. Dean, you're being very specific. I'm just going to round to 92. Alban says 75. Last one open at 100, guys. So remember that.
Yeah, but man, these sequels, though, have not been doing so well. Fast and Furious, Fate of the Furious did great, but
okay. I might be going lower than my first thought. I had a number, and then I had a second number, and then I've chosen a third lower number.
All right, I'm going to go with mine. All right, feeling the way that this box office has been treating us this summer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kari Lane, what do you have?
50.
Ooh, I went 75.
I first thought 75, and then I went 65, and then I'm like, let's go even more conservative. We'll go
Interesting.
with 50. Though Cars did open up
at 53.
53. So I know I'm betting low on that one, but I will tell you my first thought was 75.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that does you no good right now.
I know.
Neil Plumley, what do you have, sir?
It does me good at 68.
Oh, interesting.
And yes, Dean, you can be very exact with your numbers. I'm just not going to read every digit. And the screen's a little far away. No.
So look at that. All right, we got 75 for myself, 68 for Neil, and 50 for Kari Lane. Look at that.
You know.
Well, I'm going really lowballing this.
Honestly, Kari, I think you're probably going to be the one that's right. And I wanted to do 50. I didn't feel safe going that low.
You don't have the guts, huh?
Right?
I didn't have the guts. I think Kari's gutsier than I am.
What? No, I totally did think the 75. I'm like, no, I should go conservative. 60, 65, 60. No, just do 50.
I want a gift of that. Just the what right there.
Yeah.
That's great. That's what I want.
You know.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Neil, do you have anything else you'd like to say about films?
Just like in general, we can go on for a while.
Okay,
about
well, we got till 4 a.m.
Okay, guys, no.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No.
We're not going to go to 4 a.m.? All right.
Everyone go out and see Transformers and make Kari wrong.
That's right. There you go. Folks, don't you want to see a picture of her actually at screening on social media?
What's next weekend? I know I work on Saturday, but maybe Sunday.
Oh, look at that.
Sundays are when my movie theater is like, it's 5:50 on Sundays.
But look at that. Well, I feel like let's get Kari Lane to see Transformers the last night on Sunday. Share a little picture on social media. Get us all excited.
Yeah, maybe Tuesday. Tuesday's a cheap day, too.
That's true. Well, and it opens up
catch
this
up.
Wednesday as well.
Right.
So you've got extra time.
Wah,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of Box Office Breakdown. We did it. Thank you so much. We started a little later than intended, but yet was earlier than our original time, and we're wrapping a little bit sooner. So thank you for sticking around with us. We really appreciate it. We love having you folks in the chat. You make the show so much fun to do each and every single week. So, of course, folks, you can like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Throw a thumbs up on there while you're checking it out.
And this is comment down below.
That's it. I like that. Just, there you go. There you scroll that. But if you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show's over, if you want to ask Kari Lane, what films you've been seeing from your box office bets, let's see this visual proof. Kari Lane, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's Karidlane. And then I have the 2 films I did for the film competition online. I'm going to make them public, and I'll be tweeting links on that. So my horror film is called How to Get Protein. How to Get Your Protein. We talked about a few different versions. So like, what did we decide? How to Get Your Protein, and then I made a documentary called Dad. So I'll be posting all those. So stay tuned for that so you can watch them. And they're under 10 minutes. Guys, they're like 6 minutes, pretty much under 7 minutes, so won't take much time.
Yes, come on, folks. You owe it to Kari Lane to go check out her hard work that she's done. She did so well. Yes, look at that.
Thank you.
Award nominee, Kari Lane.
Oh, yes, and then I will post that too. I was nominated for Best Comedy Actor for a voiceover job on a film called Super Idiots. I'll post that as well. It's like a goofy animated comedy thing, and I play policewoman, so it's a little higher voice and faster.
Love it.
So if you are not tired of listening to me on this show, you can hear me on that.
Neil Plumley, sir, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on devices that receive an internet connection at my name with a the in front of it. The Neil Plumley, TheNeilPlumley. Get at me for stuff.
Woo!
Just get at him, folks. For just anything that comes to your mind. Just stuff. Just get at him. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us here. We'll see you back here next Sunday night for another super hot, scorching edition of Box Office Breakdown right here on Popcorn Talk.
See ya!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.